Again, that happened. I started to do a video and my computer crashed and everything was... It happens. This is going to be a personal chat with wine. I already drank a little bit. Beringer, America's favorite white Zinfandel, California 2010, 1876 established. It's a nice color to it. I don't promote alcohol in any form, but unfortunately I got used to something like this as a suitable means of enjoyment, relaxation, and it's just a pure vice. Unfortunately, it's a vice. That's how I see it. People have virtues and people have vices. This is my vice. I really do enjoy the coloration to it. It's pink. That's Charlie. I just uploaded a very nice poem, I thought, and I wrote another one, and that's how I want to start this. This is what I wrote. And when I was writing this, I was imagining reading this in front of, in Times Square on like a small podium in front of all these tourists. And I think mostly everybody on Times Square is a tourist, literally and from a social perspective, I guess. This is what I wrote. Nothing less and nothing more. Furthermore, a gesture among a crowd of few. The cold-blooded irony of discourse, an act in disguise. What more? Clickety, clickety, click. What more? The only part of it that I could explain is the clickety, clickety, click, which, Charlie, which is the pipes that sit next to me when a few times a day they start to bang, and recently it has become such a stressful endeavor to endure it or to just be part of it when they begin to click. I don't know why, but it just seems that way. It's become a nuisance and annoyance in anything. And so what I've generally started to do is whenever it begins, I would just leave my home. And it's raining outside, and the water stopped working because when I was outside, I learned that on one of the main roads that is near my home, the water main broke, and there were some police officers, like they closed down the whole road. It's very rare that happens, and I came up to a few of them and I investigated and I asked them what was happening. And he goes da 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 da, and there's probably more to it than what he said, but it just I at the time I also imagined like in his position that people, he's like, oh boy, here comes a person, a stupid resident that's just very curious, wants to know what's happening, and wants to ask, and he's like, oh, it's probably going to be a joke later that people just started coming over and asking what's wrong, what's happening, we want to know, what do you want to know. And so that's that type of person I was. And then also at the same time I imagined myself, I had a camera with me. I thought to myself, it'd be funny if I were to just create an act of this, start running around like, the idea that I created, it could have been anything, but the idea I decided to go with was, the Russians are coming, the Cold War, it never ended, like, this is it, the communist invasion, because I just recently saw the movie J. Edgar Hoover, who was played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and it was a great movie. It's a really great movie, and it really showed. I assumed that there is some historical accuracy in it, but most of it is just probably jazzed up. But it's a very inspiring movie. So inspiring that I figure I kind of share this part. In the process of me writing this, I outlined the word institutions, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a really long time now, and it's been keeping it's like a dagger in my heart. the way that I perceive institutions, any type of institution, government institution, government itself, a website, a place of business, pizzeria, anything, Google, this, YouTube, all of it as an institution. And I look at it and I examine it, and I hate myself over it, because I want to be responsible for an institution. I want to be well, for instance, I was hanging out with two buddies of mine about, I think, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and they were talking about the Groupon. Groupon is a website, I think in the United States mostly, that pretty much you would go onto it to find some discounts for some places. So the idea of that business was they would sit here, and come up with this idea that they would reach out to businesses and I guess tell them that, what, we're going to put you on this website where people can go and they will look for discounts, and to promote your business, you're going to give a special discount, and we're going to be in charge of having people go to this website to find out about your business. And by participating, your business is going to get more promotion, it's going to get more advertising, it's going to be, people are going to find out about you. So that's what they did, and it worked out, and it's I guess it's working out, or it's very successful. But the most important thing about that particular website, that particular business, is, well, it creates conversation, a social conversation. I guess now, just like how I'm speaking about it now. So it's fascinating. That's what I'm interested in. I didn't get to finish this part, but my two buddies were talking about it, and I was like, watching them, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I like that. That's my responsibility. That's what I want. So that's institutions. The creation of that pilot idea that I planned to do with my buddy today did not work out at all. It was a disaster. It's unfortunate. And I was just so upset over it. It broke my heart that it did not work out. I mean, just it eats me alive that I cannot, again, get the people in my life to, I guess, to understand the importance of some of the things that I'm trying to do. It just eats me. And it might seem that, like, I guess, I can't say it's a bad thing, because I mean, maybe I'm responsible for them maybe at sometimes feeling the way that I'm feeling right now. If they were to approach me with some sort of an idea, or some sort of something that they need my help for, or they need to participate, but I don't know. It's not the same because of this. It's not the same because of this, because this is the capturing. I mean, I'm looking at the camera. This is to capture. This is to, and to use the medium as a YouTube. It's not a private video. This is a public video. So tough. Like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I wanted to capture basically band practice. We had this idea that two of my buddies, the same ones that were speaking my group on, you know, to just hang out and just play music. My friend can play the guitar, and then I actually don't want to talk about that. It's actually because it's gonna unravel some information about that I don't want to talk about. It's interesting that I'm able to now really catch myself, or at least become a better, just better at this. But then I need to talk about something. Then I also wonder, what is this? You know, you know, in this case, I'm feeling really optimistic that I'm not feeling very confident and comfortable with titling this as a personal chat, but it still doesn't. I mean, what is this? Is this? My question is, what would be the purpose of somebody watching this? I mean, I guess you can say information, interest, curiosity. But then there has to be, you know, you can continuously add to that, and then you have to, I guess, increase content. I mean, there has to be meaningful content. There has to be something that must be, for the person to continuously keep watching this, there has to be some sort of content. Well, I guess motivation, or yeah, motivation. I was thinking inspiration, but no, not inspiration. Captivation. I mean, in this sort of a video format, there's an idea of captivation, where the person watching this is now captivated to hear the next word, to see the next action, and that's the idea, I guess, of film. I guess a movie, show, or anything. But then it still doesn't answer the question of what is this. I'm titling this a personal chat. I've always been curious of what this could be looked at as. I mean, is this a blog? Is this, I don't know. Is this something of itself that is so unique that there's actually no category or some sort of a definition for? Or is this just simply a ramblings of a delusional, you know, half-drunk guy from New Jersey that happens to be also a Russian American? Not sure. Yeah, my life has taken such a discourse quite lately. There's been just so much anxiety, so much stress, and it's just all, you know, in all honesty, it's not necessary. I mean, stress and anxiety, I guess it's just a byproduct, or it's just an unfortunate thing that somebody or somebody or someone has to deal with from time to time. I like the sound of rain. It's raining right now. I like listening to the rain and the sound of the wind, and my what is it called? I guess not the drapes, but these plastic binders. No, 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 no. Well, they cover up the window. I just forgot the word. I even see it in playing Heroes of New Earth. That's been my only, I guess, my only outlet, or my only source of not source, but I guess a place where I can do something, and I feel somewhat content with myself, even though outside of that nothing is really physically accomplished or done. But that's part of life, though. Unfortunately, oh, not unfortunately, but I mean that's just the way that is necessary, and a person must do is you cannot sit in a negative situation or being continuously negative. Yeah, you cannot sit in a negative situation. You have to be continuously fighting your way out of it by even and simply saying positive things and kind of. So in that sense, this is some sort of a positive advice that it happens in life, or a person can get to a position in life like this by not, I guess, paying attention, or not sure. Hopefully tomorrow it will work out. So basically, this is what happened. I actually just spilled some wine on myself. Basically, tomorrow I'm gonna try to. I think we're gonna try tomorrow to make that show. Oh, a show. But it's not gonna be as jazzy as regular ones. But at the same time, that's gonna that might be just a failure of having the extra resources to make it the way that it needs to be made for the. But I don't know. I'm not so fascinated. All that jazz that movies have, all that jazz that I guess even in here, popular YouTube channels, they have this kind of jazz. I don't know if it's such a good idea. It just seems to be it actually takes away from the actual raw content of it, or just if it has that. Like I caught myself a few days ago. I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous night. Uh, you know, I was watching some of the cat videos. I started clicking around just videos of cats. And it's such a funny thing. I saw actually some videos where they make jokes about that, and they make just, I guess, parodies, or just a joke of that idea that YouTube is just a collection of these mindless, just silly videos. And it seems that that's the idea from the video gaming community, or at least the younger people who are into video games. They think of YouTube as this this silly playground. But in all honesty, there's a lot of like really great YouTube channels that are in whatever it is that they're doing, like on a hardcore educational academic, just completely purely informative information, where just learn. You learn. You watch a video and you actually learn something about some sort of animal or some sort of thing that exists on this planet. I love that, and I would love to be part of that representation of, because it seems to be there is this negative connotation of, like, oh, what kind of videos do you make? Well, I make some kind of videos and I upload them to YouTube, and then it's like, oh YouTube, just that, oh, YouTube, as opposed to YouTube being more of a, well, more of a positive idea. YouTube is, there's a lot of films in YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube is also used as a venue for journalists to upload personal video content, or if they're in sticky situations like some of the journalists are right now today in Syria, for instance, they use YouTube as a way for them to upload their video content, their pictures, their information that they would want, because for whatever reason, or if some of the content is controversial, that might be not so, I guess, proper, but in quotations, for the general media, the media elite that they're associated with, affiliated with, and working for, and or actually I should say. Still, now it's another extra day. Hopefully tomorrow I will be feeling much better, but I really need to start tackling this. I need to read over all the comments that I've had in the past 3-4 days, answer them, consider them. I got that address from one of the winners. Such a winners. Well, there's no winners. There's no winners and losers. That's why I feel so icky about this. The whole Skyrim thing. There's no winners and losers in life. There's no such thing. It's just like, there's no winning or losing in life. That's such a bad idea that's taught. It's taught in in schools, and it's taught in sports, winning and losing. It's really big in gaming, professional gaming. It's like, you win, you lose, and if you lose, it's the end of the world. And if you win, you're somehow better than that person. Nobody's better than nobody. There's no such thing. It's unfortunately, there's no such thing as somebody being better than you. I don't know. Somebody can make an argument that somebody could be better than somebody, but you cannot be better than somebody. It's not possible. Philosophically, logically, it's not possible for anybody to be better than anybody. In no way. Yes, somebody might be higher up in the socioeconomic position. They might have more friends, they might be more popular, they might have more prettier people around their lives, they might have more girlfriends or more boyfriends, they might have a better wife or a better husband, or they might have better children, or they might have a better job that pays them more, or they might have a better some sort of financial success, or they might feel better than most people, or they might be happier, or they might be more knowledgeable, or they might be just anything really. But at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, everybody's still the same. We're all just these little people. Everybody is just a person. When you just look at the planet look at this planet from the outside, and you see it, or at least I see it that way. But that's not to discourage anything or anybody, unfortunately. I mean, that's the it doesn't mean that everything is wrong, or this person's wrong, or this person's right. It just means that just simply means that there's no winning or losing in life. You cannot win or lose. And I think that idea is well, it applies to everyone, regardless of anything really. That idea applies to somebody living in North Korea right now, with this idea that that's it. Beyond beyond the country, beyond the land, the society of North Korea, there is nothing else. That's how people in North Korea live. They have no idea that there's YouTube. They have no idea that there is the Europe, the United States, the Canada, the Russia, the Asia, the Australia, the Antarctic, or Antarctic. That's how they live. So even knowing, well, suppose you subscribe to the idea of winning and losing. So by you just knowing that there's the Pacific Ocean, there's the Atlantic Ocean, there's North America, Canada, United States, South America, Europe, Russia, then you got the Middle East, Africa, the Asia, China, Japan, North Korea, Indonesia, Philippines, the continent of Australia, and then you have New Zealand off the coast of it, and you have the Antarctic's North and South Poles. And of course you have these little islands, southeast of Florida, Cuba, and, well, you got a bunch of islands everywhere. I was just naming the major geographical locations of the Earth. So just knowing that it exists, if you subscribe to the idea of winning and losing and being a better person than somebody else, well, you're essentially better than every single person in North Korea, because you have that knowledge. And that's such a basic, primitive knowledge I think for most people to know. The regions of the world, well, no, in all honesty, but at the same time, you have shows that would, people will go outside and try to find people who don't really know this kind of basic information that I guess we, or at least I, would think that in a way it is basic, but not really, or just the people that I have talked to over, ever since I began this, they do have the knowledge of knowing that, of what I just said. I just want to add North America, but Canada, United States, Mexico. But I don't, I just wanted to share that part. If a person does subscribe to that idea of winning and losing, then okay, well, here you go. You feel much better about yourself. You're more knowledgeable than people of a certain country. Well, but then even then, just geography that's not really a measurement of a person. I mean, just one facet. That's one aspect of a person that I guess people judge or inspect, examine, or observe. See, judging it's a weird word. Judging, to judge somebody. It is a bad word because when it happens to you, when you get judged, when people judge you, you feel insecure and you hate it and you hate them for it. So you say to yourself, it's not fair. But in essence, it is, I guess, wrong to judge people and to, yeah, go with that idea of first impression and etc., etc., etc. But in a way, at least growing up the way I grew up and being the person I am today, in a way, I am subject to the idea of it, and my only defense to it is, well, I was just simply raised into it, but at the same time I'm capable of understanding that I have this human defect or a personal defect as a person, where I would be judging people. And it's very no, not I was going to say Latin psychologically, but more, I guess more passive, simply. It's weird. Not weird, but it's actually pretty normal. I feel confident about growing out my hair because I bumped into a man who had long hair, I guess down to here, and I had a conversation with him about that. I've been speaking to, well, I still need to, I guess I'm answering some of the comments in some of the videos, and I want to, I want to write an email to Oliver, and talk to Pompilio, I think both, and I guess a few other people. Because this idea of being, I guess in a sad state is not limited to just myself. And if there's something that I could do, either through words or just through conversation or just being part of something, well, I think it's a good thing if I'm capable of doing that. To be part of solving that small solution, which is in a way, in essence, it is a small solution when a person feels sad, or I mean, even in my case, it's just it's life. But I do need to step up everything that I'm doing. I need to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more more, I guess, persistent and more dedicated to it. And I just need to get rid of some of these negative feelings in my head. I guess not in my head, but in my heart, and just completely get rid of them. Because feeling bad or just feeling negative, it's such a stupid thing. It doesn't help you with anything really. I was speaking to Billy about it. I'm like, oh, just maybe it's a good idea that, in a way it does slow you down. It does slow you down and gives you the time to reflect and think about your life and the decisions you make, and maybe there's something that you're doing wrong, etc., etc., etc. But it does at the same time emotionally spend you. I mean, if you have emotions, they're very limited. Not limited, but there's think of it as think of it as a glass of wine. Suppose your emotions are, full. You wake up in a day, you're here. As you go throughout the day, you start to, as you interact with people, as you talk with people, as you deal with people, as you communicate with people or work or whatever, for most people, I think they emotionally get involved in it in most cases, and that in a way, contributes to spending it. So from that, just not doing anything and feeling, I guess, anxiety, sadness, some sort of a level of depression, etc., etc., just negative feelings. I like to just sum it up. I don't want to give light to the words, but to sum it up, I don't know. Actually, I lost my train of thought. I actually don't know. But it is, it's negative to be negative, and it's just not a good thing to be in a negative situation or just a negative feeling. So with that said, for the person still watching up to this point, do not feel negative and try to appreciate everything you have in life, even the little things. Just even myself today, this moment, feeling negative. I have the ability to have something like this to drink. I have a pen. I have paper where I can write. I have so much. And yeah, I even have this camera, which I wanted to talk about a little bit, but maybe I might do something about it later. I have a cat. I mean, that's just the way that you have. I mean, you have to. Unfortunately, if you are feeling that way, you have to stop thinking about that and continuously look onto these things in life, because at some point something will click. There will be. I mean, that's the way it has been in my life, and I have a more unique, an unusual way of feeling negative. Basically, I'll just sum it up. Very, very unusual. So that's what you must do if you find yourself feeling that way, unfortunately.